Set up this live. This video is directed to Mayor Lori Lightfoot. If you want to go ahead and tag her on Facebook or even just share this video, what my hopes is that maybe this opens a door to have this conversation. I noticed that many people who have the perspective that I have, the media tends to silence them. The media tries to I've been banned on Facebook several times, and I feel that I have valid points and concerns, as many people do in Chicago, as many people do in America, but for whatever reason, our voice is silent. I know that there's a lot of people who have done their due diligence. They've done their research, Mayor, and they have legit questions that I feel they have every right to ask. And with these last few tweets and posts from the White House and yourself, to many of us, it comes off as threatening or bullying. Let me rewind. Maybe some of you haven't heard it yet. The White House says for the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm. Many of us, they took that and it sounds like a threat. It sounds almost like you're wishing that upon us. And then you yourself tweeted, to put it simply, if you have been living vaccine-free, your time is up. If you wish to live life as with the ease to do the things you love, you must be vaxxed. The health order may pose as inconvenient to the unvaccinated, and in fact, it is inconvenient by design. That feels like bullying. That feels like manipulation. And here's why. It's not that we are just a bunch of ignorant people that don't want to get vaxxed and we don't care about people. There are legit double standards. There are legit things that we have questions about. And I'm going to run through those. And I'm hoping that this can just open the conversation for more people, especially in places like Chicago, New York, and California. We say we have freedom in America when it comes to sex and gender and, my body, my choice. But apparently right now, it's not my body, not my choice right now. So we have freedom for everything else except this. And here's my issue. This is just, yes, I'm a Christian man, but this is me just from an intellectual side of things. All right. Don't tell me that, well, those things don't affect other people, right? Like this virus does, because those things do affect other people. All right. It's just in ways that you don't want to acknowledge. A lot of the things that you guys push are confusing our children and coming against the way that many of us are trying to raise our children. And then we're killing children in the womb, period. And I know that's a whole debate, but we are literally killing children in the womb through abortion. So I don't want to hear that, oh, well, it's different because this virus is affecting other people. Because here's the thing. If your vaccination works, why are you worried and blaming the unvaccinated? That is an honest question that I would like an answer. If your vaccination works so well, if you're vaccinated and you claim that you're protected, then why are you worried about the unprotected? Why do we continue to blame and bash those who are not vaccinated? Because you're good. So if that's the case, really, I see so much fear mongering. Every time they talk about Kyrie Irving on these sports shows, they bash him. They say he's not a loyal teammate. All these narratives that they try to paint. But here's the facts, Mayor. And I would like for you to also address this. There are many vaccinated people who are still getting sick. There are many vaccinated NBA players, NFL players, and every time they go into COVID protocols, the media handles them differently. They don't handle them like Kyrie. So here's the reality of that. This is a fact. This is not a lie. And, fact checkers will censor this and they will block this and they will ban this. That makes it suspicious. But the reality is vaccinated people are still getting infected with these different variants. Why can't we humble ourselves before Almighty God and just admit we don't know what's going on? We don't know what to do with this virus. Instead of being manipulative, instead of bashing people like Kyrie Irving, like myself, who has legit questions about this virus and this vaccine. Let me ask you this, Mayor. You want everybody to, present these vaccination cards. You don't want us to go to restaurants. You don't want us to go to all these places, right? Unless we can prove that we're vaccinated. But based off what I just said, which is a fact, is vaccinated people still can get the virus. So just because I show up at the United Center to watch a Bulls game and I show you a vaccination card, it doesn't mean that I don't have the virus. So that makes absolutely no sense. Because that is a fact. That's not a conspiracy, but the media and people like yourself, for whatever reason, we don't address that. But there's many people like myself, we know that this is a fact. And the fact that you guys don't address it, it seems that you're being manipulative. And with these recent threats, seems that you're even trying to bully us. Why all the double standards with everything, with the way that we've dealt with the vaccination? Let me give you another example, right? And I know you're in Chicago, so this isn't really your thing, but we're forcing these vaccination mandates, right? More and more, little by little, but we're letting people come in at the border. If it's so serious, right? And this pandemic is just so crazy, why are we just still letting people come in at the border? We're not forcing them to get vaccinated at the border. But you want to force my kids, you want to force myself, right? Let's force it at the United Center, but let's not force it at the border. That doesn't make sense. And the thing is, I would like to have these kind of conversations, Mayor, and maybe you can make it make sense to us. Instead of just trying to force us, instead of just trying to intimidate us, instead of just trying to bully us, hear us out and make it make sense to us. If I just don't know what I'm talking about, make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me that the CDC, there's a couple things I want to pull up. The CDC, right? Now here's where we're going to go a little deep in. The recovery rate is between 97% and 99.75%, right? That's what I'm seeing on here. Why are you telling me that I need to get this vaccination if the recovery rate for most of us is 99.75%? Can you make that make sense to me? Now, I understand people with underlying conditions, but even with that being said, you're not saying that the vaccination works 100%. If you were saying that the vaccination works 100%, that would be a whole different thing. Take this vaccination and you will not get COVID. But that's not what you're saying. You guys are saying you got to get booster after booster after booster. And even if someone gets the vaccination in many places, if they don't get the second booster or the third booster, then they're considered unvaccinated. Now, Mayor, this might sound like what some call conspiracy theories, but I want to show you what a lot of people are thinking. See, you guys try to paint this picture. This is another reason why we don't trust you. You guys try to paint this picture that it's only a certain group of individuals or people who vote a certain way, who think this way, but it's not true. If you go to the hood in Chicago, there's many people that don't want to get vaccinated. There's many people who feel just like Kyrie Irving because they're not idiots. They're not dummies. They've done research and they say, hey, this math isn't mathing, Mayor. Georgetown University, January 12, 2017. Anthony Fauci, who a lot of us, we just don't trust. He's pretty much sitting there talking about, this virus is coming, this pandemic is coming that we're not ready for. This is in 2017. Bill Gates, TED Talks, same thing. What is this, 2015? He's saying this virus and these things are coming. Then Obama in 2014. From the outside looking in, it's like these guys are predicting this is going to happen. And then right when, Trump gets into office, these things start happening. That's suspicious to some people. Now, maybe you can make it make sense that they were predicting all of this stuff. And then here's the crazy thing, right? The double standards of who we're blaming. If they had this information and they knew something that maybe we didn't know and we weren't so prepared, then who's really to blame? Some people feel like there's people in the lab playing with viruses that they shouldn't be playing with. I like to put it, because I'm a man of God, I feel like there are people that are trying to play God with science. And so here's just the reality, Mayor. People are uncomfortable for several reasons. For several reasons, they have legitimate questions. And when you try to make us feel like these questions are not legitimate, when you try to ignore us, when you try to ban us, when you try to censor us, when you try to silence us, when you don't have people like us on these different news stations and media outlets, because you're trying to push a certain narrative or mindset, that raises concerns. And so my hope is, Mayor, that you can watch this and realize like, hey, these people are not going to just take this lying down. They've got legit questions, legit concerns. And the more that you move in this way, the more that you put these type of tweets out, it seems like you're trying to bully me, and we will not be bullied. We're not going to just bow down. Why is it that I'm not allowed to ask these questions without censorship? Why is it, even with the fact checkers, putting fact checks on everything, and a lot of stuff that they're saying is false, it's true. And you guys are sitting up there in your media throne, and it's like you guys think we're dumb, or you think that we're stupid, or you think that we don't do research, or we don't look into stuff. Now, I didn't even come at you, Mayor, from my, you could say, religious perspective. I'm a Christian man. There's several reasons why I'm not comfortable with the vaccination. There's several reasons why when I look at the Bible, according to my faith, it's not comfortable for me. And here's what blows my mind. We have freedom, okay? Freedom to choose your gender, your body, your choice, freedom with your sex. You know, a man wants to be a woman wants to be a man. We can go against the science of that, right? And that's another conversation. But it's an issue when my faith clashes with your science, or my faith clashes with your facts. And which brings me back to that point. Well, if you feel that way, if you feel that my faith is stupid, which I know you guys are too politically correct to say, but really that's what a lot of you feel in your heart. A lot of doctors have bashed a lot of people that I've known who've went to the hospital for saying, well, you know, I have faith in God. YouTube, they're flagging videos praying against COVID. I believe this. Maybe you don't. But when you try to force these things that go against my faith, that's a problem. Now, I want to be clear on this, Mayor. I don't go around, you know, from a religious standpoint, telling people, hey, you're going to hell because you took the vaccination. That's not me. All right. But what I do say is there's legit questions. There's legit concerns. And I feel that we have every right, especially in America, to be able to ask, to be able to have those conversations, to be able to demand an explanation. Mayor, can you make this sense? Make this make sense without just trying to bully me? Can you answer these questions? Because I notice you guys don't allow in the media and these places, people like Candace Owens, for example. They got to go create their own networks and their own platforms to speak out. That doesn't make sense to me. That feels like America is saying there's going to be one way of thinking, one way of doing it. And if you don't get with the program, we'll ban you, we'll censor you, we'll silence you. That's suspicious. So people have legit concerns. So Mayor, if not with me, maybe with somebody else, I think that would help ease the minds of a lot of people in Chicago if you were just willing to have the conversation and answer these tough questions instead of ducking, dodging, or trying to flex like the White House. It doesn't make the citizens of America or the people even living in America feel comfortable to hear these kind of messages coming out of the White House, to see these kind of tweets coming from the mayor of Chicago. Because you know what? It's like, brush those people to the side. We know what's best for their body. We know what's best for them. Doesn't matter what they think. Doesn't matter what they feel. And we're not even going to engage having a conversation with them. I would love to sit down with the mayor. I would love to sit down on ABC News or somewhere like that. And this ain't clout chasing. This is how I really feel. I have legit concerns. I would love to sit down and ask experts these questions and get a straight answer. For example, do people who get vaccinated still get the virus? Just a simple yes or no. No political correct dancing around, just a simple yes or no. And if that is true, then why do you continue to blame the unvaccinated? Why do you continue to push this vaccination like it is the answer, like it is the fix, like it is the 100% cure? I would love to go down that rabbit hole, and maybe you can make it make sense for us. So all due respect, Mayor Lightfoot, I know many people in America who are not going to just take this lying down. I noticed that you did make exemptions for houses of worship. That was a wise move, because if you try to force it on the church, you're going to have a problem on your hands. And I don't mean that like as a threat or violence or anything like that, but the church isn't going to just accept that and take that lying down. So we won't be silenced, and we just want to have a conversation. And I think that's what America is all about. We should be able to come together and have this conversation and not be silent. I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook censors and bans this video. That's what's so crazy about it. But I said no lies. It was facts. So Mayor, I got a bunch of people tagging you in this video. People may be sending you this video. My name's Marcus Rogers. Feel free to reach out, or maybe if you guys want somebody who's a little bit more politically correct or has a little bit more clean pass or something you're more comfortable, just have somebody have this conversation and put it out there for Chicago to see. All of Chicago to see this conversation, just like they have the debates when we're voting for president and things like that. It would be so inclusive, as you guys like to say. It would be inclusive of you guys to maybe put something like that on for Chicago, because there's many people, regardless of how the media tries to paint it, that feels just like me. God bless you, Mayor.